So, first of all, thank you for these remarks, and thank you for telling a bit of your story, your journey. You know, one of the things that I want to start off with is where you ended. You talked about taking a cause, seeing it through, carrying it for 10 years, and trying to find someone to take the baton, to give the baton to. You know, a mentor told me a few years ago that passion is good, but strategy is better. Passion is good, but strategy is better, because at the time he was looking at the work that I was doing, passionate about women, but you have no strategy. Can you talk about who and how you've become strategic? Do you have mentors speaking in your ear? Do you have counselors? Are you being coached? Because there's so many women who introduce themselves as early stage in their career. And I'd love for them to see you, not just as a finished product, but also as someone who's submitted themselves perhaps to process. So can you give us a bit more flavor to your process and who's played a role in making you who you are today?
Okay. Wow, that's a really good question. So I'll start with something you all said. We are the average of the 5 people we hang out with. It is not a mistake that my former roommate is secretary to the cabinet. It isn't. These are my people. This is our DNA. This is how we are. So I'll start with, at school, who are the girls I hang out with? When I finally went to the University of Nairobi, I could have chosen any number of women to be around. I chose those who seemed to have a purpose. Mm-hmm. As I got into my working career, and even when I was at the University of Nairobi, there was an amazing lady who was part of Fanusi. Fanusi is a study center. Is it still there? Let me ask the younger ones. Is Fanusi still there? So Fanusi is run by the Opus Dei, the Catholic in me. But what is important about that is that Agnes Gatama, the late, was there, and she always told me this. So this is where it starts. She says, there's no point if you're not top 5 in anything you do. It's pointless. So for me, getting into radio, I had to be top 5. But she says, whatever it is you're doing right now, as you're studying in class, as you're doing, you've got to be within at least the top 5, if not the top 10. And that, once it enters your mind, it becomes the way you run yourself. By the time I got into banking, and I was like, if there are bankers in the room, I noticed Citibank was in the room, another mundane work. I couldn't do it. I tried for a year and a half, and then I kind of stumbled into radio. But at the same time, when you're sitting there and you're part of the first independent radio station in Kenya, you're already there at the threshold of we are unique. Therefore, what are you going to do? And when they finally put me on air, I used to do the traffic update, but I did it really well. That's how they started me. I used to say, it's 22 minutes past 3, because I used to do the traffic update in the afternoon. And then I'd tell you that Uhuru Highway was busy but moving, no problems. And then I'd let you know that Moi Avenue is looking like this. And but I was good. I had 30 seconds and everybody waited for me to come back. So the truth is, bloom where you're planted, first and foremost. But if you continue to consistently tell yourself, in the room, in the space that I occupy, I will be first 5, it begins to create how you think about everything you do. By the time I was headhunted and went to KISS, I remember Frank Ireri. He was a Citibank then. And he's the one who told me, as you go through this journey, remember your gut is never wrong. Mm. And I keep telling people it's the ticklies. It's that feeling you get at the back of your neck. Mm. It knows what you should know, but you don't quite know. And then was meeting women who would say, you're doing this great, but can I suggest? And, it was Gina Din, it was Susan Kithuku who gave me my first board appointment. I was chair. Wow. By the way, I'm now ready to work back again in government. I'd taken a break, I was tired. Yes, I was tired. No, board appointments are tough. But that's another thing. You've got to teach yourself early to serve.